Welcome to the Singletrack Session number 74 here with the TrailManners podcast. Sitting in Studio 78, 22nd Street Trailhead.
Yes.
End of January, 1st of February.
Yeah.
We're in the bus.
We are in the bus.
It's a little chillier this morning than it has been the last couple days.
Yes.
But it's still bearable. Doors open. I'm in shorts. I mean, it's still bearable.
It's crazy.
Yesterday's run, we got out at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
and we were just sweating like hogs.
Yeah, once we got past the wind,
Yeah.
it was warm.
It's been a little warm, and the last forecast I checked, next 10 days, there's no snow in sight. It's like 40s, 50s.
Yep.
So,
Middle of February, we're going to have good weather.
I'm going to have a tan by,
I know.
St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
Running in tank top, maybe. I don't know. Because Operation Svelte is going according to plan.
Yeah, for you, you're doing really good.
Yeah, I had 3 goals for the month of January. I nailed all 3.
Yeah, you did.
And I had a goal to be at a certain weight for Red Mountain, which is March 3rd.
Right.
And I'm almost there.
You're almost there.
I got like 4 pounds.
Yeah.
3 pounds, something like that.
You'll get that.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Uh-huh.
Hungry as a ox, though. Just keep seeing photos. I'm like, man, that looks so good.
Yeah.
Piece of paper.
Yeah.
That
Really
looks
good
good.
chomp on that,
Yeah,
huh?
right? But yeah, it's Operation Svelte's going well. Let's hit. We got back to the podcast scene on Tuesday after a few weeks off. Kind of getting through the holidays and getting through the many projects we have going on, both with TrailManners and other realms.
Right.
But we were fortunate enough to be invited back to the And She's Dope Too Lady Wild Film Festival here in Ogden. Second year, kind of the back end to the Moksha movie that we talked about last year. And that was kind of we've talked about it before. It's a little out of our wheelhouse.
Yes.
Just because it's not strictly trail running.
Right.
And then just the massive crowds.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
It was a lot busier this year than last year.
You're sitting on a microphone, and we were the first table once you walked in right across from the red carpet. So people just kept looking at us and taking our stickers. And
Oh, I know.
And it was like, man, people are looking at us, man. So I just tried to block it out.
Act like I was busy.
Yeah.
Doing something.
Yeah, I'm talking to nobody. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Great guests. Again, we had Julie back as our first guest. Franny bookended the other side, but we had Hannah in the middle, who we didn't have last year. She was fun.
She was fun.
She was a lot of fun. So if you haven't listened to that, it's a good show. Even though it's out of our wheelhouse, it was just it was exciting and proud to be a part of something like that.
Yeah.
It's such a great movement and thing they're doing with bringing awareness to stuff and kind of working on, getting women more involved in Nepal and make it more of a norm as opposed to a social, taboo.
Right.
So it was really cool just to be a part of something that big.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just, having daughters, for me, it was just kind of like, oh, this is awesome. I'm like, you guys need to listen to this. So.
Right.
And speaking of daughters, real quick, I'm going to throw this out. My oldest, Samantha, she turns 21 right now, so February 2nd. So happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Sam.
I don't listen to the show, but happy birthday anyway. Maybe someone will relay it to you at some point. But yeah, a lot to talk about this week. We got a lot of Ask TrailManners questions, too.
Things are ramping up now.
They're flooding in, and they're great questions, and I know they're helping other people, not just the person asking them, so that's always nice. And to be honest with you, it kind of helped me a little bit kind of get back in that mindset, right? Whether it's racing.
Stop and think.
Yeah.
About, okay, did that game plan actually work well?
Yeah.
Last time I tried it. And the answer is no.
Probably not. But just, a few things this weekend. We're fortunate enough on Saturday to be a part, working with Solomon again and Mike Ambrose there. We're going to be doing a winter running clinic.
Or Learn to Run.
Learn to Run clinic. Yeah,
I'm
because we
not
don't have
quite
winter.
sure it's a winter clinic.
Yeah, we don't really have winter. There's a small patch of snow next to the bus that the plows moved over.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the trails down at this end are pretty dry.
Yeah.
If you go over by Weaver State, no bueno.
Yeah. But yeah, it's super exciting to be a part of that. It's our first clinic of the year. It was open to 25 people. That filled pretty fast.
I'm really happy that it filled that fast.
Yeah, so keep your eyes open for more of those to come. But we're excited for you part of that this Saturday with Solomon and their Learn to Run clinic. And that's for beginners.
Yeah.
and they'll be more throughout the year, and I think they do them in other parts of the country as well.
Oh, yeah,
so,
I think they'll do one in Salt Lake probably.
Yeah, and I know they've done stuff in Colorado.
Right.
So check that stuff out. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. But it's closed. You can't come down and enjoy it unless you signed up.
Yeah, there's only 25 spots, and it should be fun though. I'm really looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to touch on, we've touched on this before, but I had an experience on Sunday on my run. I was out by myself, went out for about 10, 11 miles.
Is this when you got really cold?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, in sections.
Yeah.
But I'm running out, and it was warm, and I had my jacket, my gloves off a little bit. And this dog, I turned the corner, there's a dog standing right in the middle of the trail.
Oh, you haven't told me this yet.
And I'm
Was
like,
he on leash or off leash?
Off leash, of course. And so I'm sitting there, and he's just staring. Tail goes straight up, starts to curl, gets puffy. I'm looking at it going, oh, this is not good.
Right.
And so I just stopped.
Okay.
And I just don't want anything to do with this, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything in my hands. Didn't have like a water bottle. So I'm like defenseless.
So that's key, right? You make sure you have your water bottle.
Yeah, you can squirt them. You can even chuck it at them at that point.
I think squirt's a good first thing to do.
Yeah.
But then if they go at you, they go after the bottle.
Yeah. And so I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, all right, so the owner should be here any second. So the owner turns a corner, and he looks at me and goes, oh, I apologize about that. I'm like, oh, it's cool, And then I start walking, and the dog comes up behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to walk past the guy, and the dog starts growling and made a weird noise behind my back. And that freaked me out.
That's not cool.
And the guy was in front of me still, and he's looking right at me. His eyes get super big.
Right.
And he yells at his dog. And at that point, I panicked.
Yeah.
Because the surprised his owner.
Yeah.
I was like, son of a. So I'm getting ready for this hard-on donkey kick, man.
Are you ready for this, this chomp on the butt, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm waiting for the calves. I got meaty calves. I'm like, this guy's going to tear into me. So I get ready for a back kick, and I look over my shoulder, but he's still like a couple paces away.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of I just took off.
Yeah.
And I thought about it for a minute. I'm like, people out there that run with dogs, which I do, please, please, please be a little more aware and courteous.
Yeah.
And that's where I struggle.
So maybe this is an Ask TrailManners segment here.
Yeah.
Or this could be a whole different discussion,
But it bothers me. And if you always hear the same thing, oh, he's good. He's a good dog. He's nice. And that's great. And I appreciate that. Yeah. He is. I'm glad.
He's probably great 80% of the time, right?
All you need is that 1%, man. And what if I was a little kid?
Yeah, that's the big thing.
What if I didn't stop running?
Right.
Or what if I was on a bike?
Yeah.
Because that's always the worst is like that bike. You can't really get out of the way. You run them over, they tip you over. But, but it really bothered me, and I kept running, and I'm like, man, and I didn't because I didn't want a confrontation.
Yeah.
But I thought, man, I almost felt like turning around saying, listen, this is an urban trail.
Yeah.
It's a Sunday morning.
Yep.
And your dog it was a beautiful dog. I don't know what kind it was.
Right.
It kind of looked like an Akita, which those are kind of like a wolfy type little thing. Mm-hmm. But I was really disappointed, and I was really frustrated because I run with my dog. I run with my dog off leash at times, but Joel's run with me. Anytime I see him, anything near, I throw him on.
Like right away.
He stays right next to my side.
Yeah, your dog's pretty good about it, not getting out front.
Yeah, he doesn't get out front. He's really good. But I also, I've never gone past somebody with him off leash.
No, it's true. You never
Even
have.
Friends.
Yeah.
Like we see Kelsey and her dog slapping him on a leash.
Right away.
And that's just, I don't know, because you never know.
I wish more people would do that.
But it really bothered me. So if you run with a dog, I don't care how nice it is, please be courteous to others because, and I'll say this million times, that person you run across may be terrified of animals.
Yeah.
They may have had a bad experience with animals. So your dog can be the greatest thing on the planet.
Your dog can perceive that person as a threat, even though they're not.
Exactly.
And then that dog's going to do what they do. They're going to protect their owner.
And it's not the dog's fault.
No.
You can train your dog.
Yeah.
It's not your dog's fault. I mean, ultimately you're the owner. So just be a little more aware out there. But I don't want to go into this big, huge scrambling eggs. But
dude, you're right. You're there. You're in it.
It's frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have children. We see children and families, older people on the trail that are out for a walk, and it just takes one thing, and it just gets ugly.
Yeah.
And you see dog attacks all the time.
Well, when you come around the corner like that, and the dog is nowhere near its owner.
Yeah.
Like 100 yards away, quarter mile away. That's irresponsible.
Yeah. And we've seen that.
We see it quite a bit now, more so than you want.
And we've seen dogs run with us as the owner's gone the other direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like hanging out, and we're like, hey, go away, go back to
that's where you got to
owner.
run back towards the owner to take their dog back to them.
Yeah, so
that's bad ownership.
Just be responsible, carry a leash at all times.
Yep.
And just understand it's not number one, I'm pretty sure it's the law.
It is.
Here because it's city property or
it's
the
law.
You're supposed to have your dog on a leash, but it only takes a few instances for things to get ruined.
Yeah,
right?
like you're not going to be able to take your dog up there.
And I've seen people, and it's unfortunate, you've seen people had to put their own dogs down for small instances. It just really depends on how it's perceived. So just don't, if you love your dog, don't put it in that risk situation because that's your responsibility.
And to bookend that, clean up after your dog.
Oh, boy. Yes.
It got really bad last year.
It did. It always. We didn't have the snow this year, but it happened last year when we had all that snow. The snow melted, and it was like bombs everywhere.
Right,
bags.
But even by the end of the summer,
it got really bad.
By the trailheads everywhere, it was really bad.
Yeah, just clean up. Most trailheads have garbage cans. Bring your baggies. I carry a baggie, and they're teeny. They don't take up any space.
No, I think you can. If you're afraid it's going to weigh you down.
Yeah.
Attribute that to training weight.
There you go. Those
you go.
Little baggies are heavy.
Yeah. And I think just kind of wrap this up. Do your pyre as a good owner, or it's going to go away.
Yep, it totally will.
Yeah.
So, anyway, my rant's done, but it's a very serious subject.
It is.
A few things in the news this past week we'll cover. Then we'll get into some more stuff. But Ultimate Direction had their FKTs of the year, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, it was kind of their thing. They had people vote on it, I believe, and they brought up some big ones. And I just have a list. I don't have all the details, but I'll just kind of go over it's a top 5 male and female FKTs, and there were some big ones this year. I mean, I didn't realize how many there were. Right. We'll start with the women. There was a tie for 4th. The California Coastal Trail, self-supported in California. Natalie Larson, 44 days, 18 hours and 40 minutes. Went from August to October. And I don't have all the details. I'm just going down this, but that's a long way, right? And a long time. And tied with the Grand Canyon rim to rim. That was just rim to rim, north to south. Alicia Vargo, 3 hours, 19 minutes. That's pretty quick, north to south.
That's way fast.
3 was friend of ours, been on the show, Ashley Nordell, the Ozarks Highland Trail, 2 days, 10 hours, and that was supported. Number 2 was the rim to rim to rim, and that was Kat Bradley, 7:52.
That's fast.
That's back and forth.
I'm not going to tell you what mine is.
Yeah, mine's not there, right? It's not really that close.
No, not even that close.
Not even worth mentioning. You could almost time my rim to rim to rim by a calendar as opposed to a clock.
It was pretty close, right? You had like a couple of calendar days.
Number 1 did not surprise me, which I expected, was Darcy, the John Muir Trail, supported 3 days, 7 hours. We brought that on the show. She just nailed that.
That is a hard.
So that was tough.
Trail.
On the men's side, again, there's some cool ones. Tied for 5th. Colorado Trail supported, which broke our friend Scott Jaime's record. Brian Williams, 8 days, no hours, 30 minutes, so just barely over 8 days.
Right.
Tied with Ben Thompson in New Hampshire, the Presidential Traverse, which I am not familiar with.
I bet you that's hard.
4 hours, 29 minutes.
Wait a minute, 4 hours and 29 minutes?
Yeah. So I don't know what that is. That's the thing. I didn't do my due diligence. But there's another tie for 5th. It was the Colorado Highest 100 Peaks. Self-supported, self-powered.
Oh, yeah.
That was Justin Simeone.
I remember seeing that.
60 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And I think it's the only known time. The first time someone's done that, I think, is what it boils down to.
That's crazy.
L.A. Freeway in Colorado. Mateus Mesner, 16 hours, 59 minutes.
I am not sure what that is.
When I read it first, I'm like, you ran the L.A. Freeway?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, in Colorado?
What?
So, yeah. Number 4, the Holy Nolans. Andrew Hamilton, only known time in Colorado, 71 hours, 31 minutes. Also, Nolan's 14er. I thought this one, and I understand what's ahead of it, but originally I thought this one, Iker Carrera did the Nolan's 14.
Yeah.
In 47 hours, 40 minutes.
Okay.
And what was impressive about that is he did it just right after Hard Rock.
I know.
Right? So to bust that, so I was like, when I first read the list, I'm like, wow, I thought that would be up there. And then I hit 2 and 1. I'm like, oh, all right.
Gotcha.
Because number 2 was a John Muir Trail supported, and that was Francois. That was Frank the Hang. 2 days, 19 hours, 26 minutes. And then number 1, again, I forgot about it, which I shouldn't have.
Oh,
was the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
And that was Joe McConaughey, 45 days, 12 hours. Beat Carl's time by, I think it was like 10 hours, 8 hours, something like that. So fair, but he did it self-supported.
Self-supported.
Carl, yeah. So that's why it's insane.
Yeah,
it was a self-supported. So that was kind of cool just to kind of read those. And And we've talked about it on the show. Those are just getting more and more popular.
They
right?
are.
FKTs, OKTs. I know we've
Right.
talked to people like, I don't think anybody's tried this, so I'm going to go out and set a record on it.
Yep.
And you could really do that with many things. You just make something up and say, oh, yeah, I got it's like a Strava segment.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, right?
It's like, I'm going to do, for us, we could do Lewis, and then I'm going to run over and do Malin's, and then I'm going to go back to Ben Lomond. Because that'd be your OKT. Because probably no one's done that because it doesn't make sense.
That's true.
Right? Because of the logistics. But technically, it's an OKT.
It is.
So that's kind of those. And then also, it's, I've been reading more, and I'm not going to bring them all up. There's been more DQs in ultras.
Yep.
So there was a guy down in Australia. He was just cutting course left and right.
Was he?
Yeah, not checking in. He didn't even hit the turnaround.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he's kept running like, hey, I'm still in the race, and he got DQ'd.
It's like, whatever, this is my style.
Yeah, it's just,
right?
and I don't know if it's always been there. Now it's just more awareness to it, but you just hear about it more, and it seems like it's peaking because, and this guy, the reason I bring it up is they had the Hong Kong 100K last week.
Right.
And the winner got DQ'd.
He did.
And it's interesting, and I read 4 or 5 different articles.
Did you? I've only read the one where he accepted water outside the 8 area, and then he littered.
Yeah, and so that's one section.
Okay, so what
the other one is he took it it was a hiker. He just took it, didn't ask.
Oh.
And just threw it on the ground.
Gotcha.
And then he thought, I thought the hiker would pick it up for me.
So he took it like he forced it out of her hand.
That's what. So I've seen a couple different stories.
Now that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Like he didn't ask, and his was like, I asked, but I thought they said yes.
Oh.
So that's what I've heard. Either way,
Maybe
taking the water was
communication
illegal,
issue there.
and then littering on the course.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was just.
Rules are the rules, I guess. I mean,
and you wonder too, is like technically, I don't know
lame.
how he was conditioned, like how if he was dehydrated, but if he
Sounded like
didn't
he
do
was.
that, if he had still won or not. But,
Wow.
but yeah, so he was DQ'd, and it sounded like it was pretty cordial. It wasn't like this big argument or fight.
Yeah,
it was just
that's
kind of like,
good.
oh, bummer, because it was a rule's a rule. But to have them do that was pretty precedented over there.
Right.
Unprecedented, sorry. To where it was kind of a big deal. And then
I think
Alex
it
Nichols
got in the paper.
Yeah.
Like it was all over the news over there.
It was. And Alex Nichols took third, moved up to second because of the DQ.
Gotcha.
But yeah, just another one. And, you just hate to see these things happening. Oh, and then I saw another one. Another race, a guy was using performance-enhancing drugs
like
of some sort.
Huh?
But he said it, and I wish I had written this down. But he took it. It was part of, like, I want to say a cream he put on his leg for an injury or something like
that.
that.
So it had like a steroid in it.
Yeah, but he was a solid runner. Like he's won some stuff.
Yeah.
But he is a different. I wish I wrote it down. So
the
I
old
apologize.
cream on the leg excuse.
Yeah. Well, did you see the guy, the track guy that just got off? He got banned for something, and it ended up being excessive making out with a girlfriend that had something on her lipstick. And they said, "Oh yeah, you're right," and they let him go.
What?
Yeah, it was a track runner, like a sprinter.
Maybe this is like a precedent. Maybe something like this has happened before.
I don't know, but it was like
That's
excessive making out.
Excessive making out.
Yeah, it's like, honey, I got a race. Give me some of that good on your lipstick.
Right, just macking on her.
Yeah.
Huh?
So yeah, I mean, it's just you're seeing more of it.
Well, I think that one thing we need to be careful of is there's a new category that's going to be coming out. The performance enhancing potty. Gotta be careful of that. Every aid station.
Yeah. There's no FKT on that either.
No, there's not.
It's an LKT, longest known time.
Yes.
In the potty.
You gotta be careful of those porta potties.
But yeah, it's just more and more of these are coming up, and man, I really hope it doesn't trend that way.
I think it's going to be that way. It's always going to be there. Somebody's always going to look for
finding an edge.
A way to cheat, right?
Well, and maybe with these other ones that have been coming out lately, maybe it's making people that are thinking about it or doing it, maybe like, oh, I better back it down because they're going to be looking out for it.
Exactly. I think those people that are blood doping are still always going to try to ride that line.
Yeah. Well, in our sport, testing, I mean, are they going to do it at an X race?
Yeah, they need to. Some of the bigger races where there's big sponsors and big money involved.
Yeah.
They really should.
And I just hate to see it all the way around. I mean, for me, it bothers me, but it doesn't affect me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What am I going to move up a spot if a guy gets DQ'd? So now I'm in the top 40%.
100. Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's just sad to see because we do know people that train hard that don't cheat, don't do illegal stuff, and that's where it really hurts. And then ultimately, as we've seen in the news and through social media, it just hurts the sport.
I know that there was a discussion about Zion 100 and how they can make that more legit, like tighten it up. Because there's a lot of places you can cheat on that course.
Is there?
Yes, especially at the end when you're doing the loops in the desert.
Yeah.
You could take off, and maybe your significant other can maybe give you a ride.
Or make out with you for some performance-enhancing drugs or something.
So I think they're going to have some GPS and some timing mats.
Okay.
To help offset some of the cheating that's happened there in the past.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's just I just would hate to see it, and man, if you're listening to this show, don't even think about it.
Yeah, if you're listening to our show and you're a cheater,
yuck.
Yeah, we don't like you.
Pooey on you.
That's right.
So that's kind of those. Hate to bring that up, but it's unfortunately part of it. But we do have a big race coming up this weekend. We've got the Sean O'Brien,
which is a golden ticket race.
Golden ticket. So we got 2 and 2 going again for that one, and there's some big names again.
Some more Coconino Cowboys.
Yeah, or Cappuccino.
I haven't gotten to that fully, but that looks like it's fun.
Yeah.
Like they're just having so much
Someone
fun.
started a Cappuccino Cowboys, and it's pretty funny. You know, I almost think I would know who started that.
Yeah.
Just from experience and talking with people.
Right.
And it makes me wonder.
Yeah,
We'll have to ask the individual. They won't come clean, but maybe.
Sure. Well, I'm surprised there hasn't been like a bourbon cowboy.
A bourbon cowboy?
Yeah. Whiskey cowboy.
Whiskey. I was going to say whiskey because that's what I remember.
Whiskey
John Wayne.
Cowboy. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty funny. So 4 more tickets, Western States, Sean O'Brien 100K. Women's side, man, there's some names on here. You got Courtney DeWalter. And you almost have to think she's getting one.
Wait, didn't she just
race
last week?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago or something. The Rumble?
Cold
water Rumble? Yeah. And, but maybe she recovered. She just, it was a cold water Rumble 52 miles what she did.
Right.
Amelia Boone's running it. She took second last year.
Yeah.
Our friend we've had on the show, Bree Lambert, she's running it.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Mae Flynn. She's kind of... She won a Speed Go last year, man.
Yeah.
That's some serious business there. But there's a lot of good female runners there for 2 spots. So, hope that goes well.
I want to see Courtney I want to see her get in the Western States.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I want to see her get out there with those big basketball shorts on and just tear up Western States.
Stand right next to Camille Herron on the start line.
Yeah,
because their outfits are so different, right?
So different. But both are just having so much fun.
Yeah, they are. So that's it. And on the men's side, man, the men's side's super deep. With people. You just hope people have a good day.
Yeah.
Mako, he's in.
No.
Yeah.
No.
He's in. Dominic Grossman, he's in. Dominic Layfield, who we've had on the show.
Oh, good. I like him. He's a good guy.
He's in there.
He lives out there now, though.
Yeah, he does. There's a lot of names on here.
I think there's some of the Coconino Cowboys are going to be there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Frericks, Sensman.
They're not on the radar. No? Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of runners, a lot of dudes. Corey Conga. I'm trying to figure out the list here. There's people that have won a lot of races. We'll just have to see how that pans out for everybody. But it'll be interesting to see. It's always fun to see those golden ticket races, who gets the invite to the big time.
That's right.
So what else we got going on?
No.
Jeremy Haddock accepted the putts entry last week.
Oh, good.
So he's doing the 50-miler.
Yep.
So I apologize to Donette and Simon.
Yeah.
They were 2 and 3.
Sorry. Next year.
Maybe next year.
Right.
Or you can always just
sign up,
mm-hmm. Right? And Simon, the offer still stands. I'd still pick you up at the airport and drive you back.
Simon should come over and do Vaquero Loco.
That'd be fun. He'd love hanging out at start-finish.
I think he would.
Camping the night before.
Simon, make that happen.
We also opened up our TrailManners Ultra Runner of the Year contest. Not one entry that I saw. So that started off a little slow.
Right. Well,
So it's now until February 25th.
We have a lot going on right now. So
I
can see people kind of like, oh, that's right. I forgot those guys are doing that.
Yeah, we do have a lot. That's open now until February 25th. It's top 5 for 2018. Who you think will be U.S. only.
Right.
Top five men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to post that on Singletrack Session 73's website.
Okay.
So we can find it. But that's still open. We got our snowcross event coming up, the Solomon Snowcross Relay here on February 24th. Joel's been on the course twice now.
3 times.
3 times now.
3 times. Got it dialed in.
Yeah. And so what's the early thought for people that are on the fence?
All right. So I think that if you're worried that you've never been on cross-country or skis, we've got that taken care of. I feel that you can get on like classic cross-country skis and do the 5K route, no problem.
Okay.
Because I've never been on classic gear before, and I went out last Sunday and did the race course, no problem. Had a ball.
Nice.
It was fun. There's some nice hills to keep you honest. And then, of course, when you transition to the run's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably going to see a moose. She's there with her baby, and it's going to keep things spicy.
We'll try and get a bell on her neck.
Yeah, exactly. So you know where she's at. So for those of you that are more advanced, whether it be classic or skate, we're going to have a 5.6-mile course.
Nice.
And it's going to be challenging. It's going to be hilly. It's not like a flat, get into a groove. It's going to be like, oh, here comes another hill.
Going to work for it. Wear a
They're
headband because you're going to sweat.
Yeah, they're going to sweat, especially with this weather we've had.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it's going to be good time. It's a great place. North Fork is really pretty.
Fun spot. Chili, cocoa at the finish from Solomon.
Yeah.
And then once that's over, man, it's all full steam ahead to the Ogden Trail Running Festival.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
So much going on with that.
Just got a glimpse of who might be coming to speak with us.
Yeah, for Friday night. Because we haven't announced Friday because we just want to dial it in completely. But there's a list of names we were just thrown.
That we were given.
And
it was like, oh, balls.
Yeah, it's like, we'll take half of one of those.
Holy cow.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, it will be fun. I think that once we nail down one of these Solomon athletes, you're going to pee your pants.
Yeah, and there's only 100 for that one.
That's right.
So you got to get on it. But make the whole weekend. You know, we're really looking forward to this festival. We want to make this like a big thing, yearly thing. Big event here in Ogden area. All people are welcome, man, from all over.
The mountain bikers, they've got their thing, right? They've got their sweaty Yeti.
Yep.
They've got whatever else they do.
And Moabs.
Yep. They got their Moabs. Why can't we have our thing? Yeah. Right?
So
Ogden's a cool town. We got great trails.
Great food, great beer, great just paddle boarding, kayaking,
we got a
fishing.
Great vibe here.
We do have a great vibe. And there's
celebrate
something for everybody. So let's get people out to that Ogden Trail Running Festival. We'll hit on that as we get closer, but you don't want to wait too long on some of this stuff. You're going to miss out because there are people that missed out last year.
And here's the deal: if you're a fast runner, we've got money for you.
Yeah, there's some coin on the table.
There's some coin and there's some
big prizes.
Yeah.
Big prizes.
So I think, like you said, after we get done with the snowcross, we're gonna go
shifting gears, man.
Dive into that, but don't wait, folks.
I'm gonna do the Strava week while you get ready for. It was WDYFTY. So the Strava week distance, Andy Noise, 89.6. Run time. This doesn't. Oh, I didn't update it.
Oh no.
Because I know there was a different. How did that happen? I remember typing it in. Okay, so I apologize. I missed it.
It was probably Andy.
No, there was.
Just give it to Andy.
It wasn't. That's what I remember. There's some dude like 117 miles.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And someone different for the climb. How did that's not on here? That's a bummer. Okay. Anyway, I apologize.
Next week.
So, Joel, we got the Sign Garage, which I'm going to head to this week. They got some new stuff. I'm just going to buy this T-shirt they printed. Ogden shirt. It is rad.
Is it?
So cool. Because they're doing their website where people can shop online now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so historic 25th Street Sign Garage. Where we found out we're halfway through the WDYFTY Awards. So
we just
given
figured that
out
out.
half the hats.
Yes.
We started this on July 20th. Jeff Hart was our first winner.
Yep.
And this week's winner was Joel's pick.
Yes.
And Joel, who was this week's winner?
Giff Walters.
Giff Walters.
Yes.
Come on down.
Challis, Idaho.
Challis, huh? That's pretty up there. I did some salmon fishing up there.
It's pretty up there.
Steelhead. So yeah, send me an email, manners@trailmanners.com. We will get your limited edition custom.
Yes.
Only, I don't know how many weeks are in a year made hats.
52.
Yep, in that area.
Yeah.
Limited edition trucker hat. Send me your email or your mailing address.
So we got 26 more weeks, 26 more opportunities to.
And you know what?
Take a pretty picture.
There was a lot this week.
There was
and a lot of new names.
Christopher Pack was second place.
Chad Smith crushed it.
He was first place until
he won.
He won in the
that
past.
You know what? That picture he took, I would hang that on my wall.
That was good looking.
I'd put it on a frame. That was rad. So yeah, that's with those. Okay, we got a lot of Ask Trail Manners. We'll try and get to all these. There's some good ones.
Should we save one for next week? Do we need to?
I don't know if we can.
Okay. What time is it?
You know what?
We got time.
You know what? And the first one, and I apologize. I should have brought this up. It's hey, dirt dudes, dogs on trail, off leash.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about it? I've been tripped up by dogs while running, and it's pretty dang annoying. Plus, not knowing if that thing looks at me like a chew toy.
Yeah.
Or not, is sometimes unsettling. Thanks,
is.
guys. Keep up the top-notch work. Sincerely, Dingoes Ate My Baby.
So I think we answered that.
Yeah.
Almost, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty close.
It is annoying, though. I hear you.
I think that, as a trail user, you don't want to invite that conflict with somebody else.
Yeah, because you never know anymore.
You really don't. You don't know if they're packing.
You don't know if they'll just turn their dog on you.
Exactly. But I think we need to be a little bit more firm with our, hey, do you mind putting your dog on a leash?
Yeah.
And maybe that's all we need to say.
Yeah.
And then if they give you some lip, be like, all right.
Flick their ear. Flick it.
You go and scroll tap them. Because it's usually a dude.
Yeah. So we should have pinned that together. But thanks for the question.
Yeah.
But yeah, it actually happened to me this weekend. So next one. Hello. First of all, I love the show. I have a question for Ask TrailManners. I'm running my first ultra in May, 50 miles with 11,000 feet of gain.
Ooh.
I want to use poles. Do you ever use poles? And do you have any tips about running with poles? Christopher Fell. Now, I'm going to let Joel answer this. I've used poles very, very sparingly.
You're on the struggle bus with those.
And the only thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to turn this completely over to Joel, if you use poles, train with poles before a race.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So other than that, I'm going to let Joel take this one.
So I think that if you're a skier, backcountry skier, Nordic skier, or if you're a split boarder, you're going to have a proficiency with poles already. You're going to have a comfort level, and you're going to be far ahead of the game. Because what's going to happen is when you're going uphill, you're going to kind of still use them like you do when you're skinning uphill. So it's going to be out front, and then you're going to pull through because of the way the leash is on your wrist, right? So that way you can power through that and get more momentum. When you're going downhill, some people don't use them downhill. I do.
You do?
I'll have them out front, but they're like little flicks. So I'm not doing like a full plant. It's this little like bumblebee quick like plant.
Man, I would impale myself. I'd stick it and hit it.
Yeah, and then of course, if there's a lot of scrub, a lot of bushes, then I don't use them unless I'm going uphill. It just depends on the trail, I guess.
See, and I don't use poles, and it's because I'm not. And I have some.
Yeah.
And I'm not against using them.
Right.
But I just look at, and maybe this year I'd look at maybe some of the hundreds I'm doing, and maybe put them somewhere later in the race. I'd have to look at the terrain and everything else. But I just don't use them. For me, it's like extra stuff to think about, and I try and do a little more simple.
Right.
And if Joe mentioned if you skied, split board, or if you've gone frog gigging, maybe you can use them pretty good. I don't know. But I know a lot of people love them and
definitely
don't use them.
Train with them.
Yeah, try it
beforehand.
out. So if you're wondering if Joel's some tips, but if you ever want to use them, train with them for a bit. See if you like them. See if you're going to look for them, and always make sure you've got somewhere to store them because sometimes you don't want to carry them all the time.
A lot of the newer packs now have a place to store them. Make sure that that's something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Is it in the front? Is it in the back? Do you have to take your pack off to put it on? Are you comfortable with that transition?
Do they fold? Are they just non-foldable? That's a big thing.
Yeah, make sure that they're foldable.
And the other thing as well is if you carry handheld water bottles, you can't do that with poles.
No, you can't.
It's difficult.
But
I guess you could store it somewhere.
You're gonna work through those logistics before you get it. But definitely
train with them.
Train with them multiple times. And then when you're using them on a longer course, there's muscles that are being used that aren't normally being used.
Yep.
And holy cow, triceps are screaming at the end of that race.
Yeah.
They're tired.
Wear
puppies.
gloves too, right? Would that be easier to get blistered up?
I didn't use gloves when I ran 100 with them. No problems.
Okay.
So like the Zion 100, I definitely wouldn't use them. For the bear, I used them, but I don't know if I'd use them again for the bear. Trying to think where else. I might use them for Scout Mountain. Because when we come back and climb Scout Mountain again, we get that really steep downhill.
Yeah.
That might come in handy. And then when you're coming out of that aid station where it's really steep.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Just depends on my fitness level and how strong you are.
Yeah, train with them is a key.
Train with them,
so you
for
know if
sure.
you like them. All right, next one up is Dear TM, long-time listener, first-time caller.
I like that.
I
That
do
is some
too.
NPR reference right there.
I have a hypothetical question. Let's say you are going to a huge race.
Okay.
It's their first year, and they have everything from a 1-mile kids race all the way up to a 100-mile
Oh, my
with
gosh.
stupid vert.
Who are these jokesters?
Now let's say all the RDs are putting on this hypothetical race are sober. In fact, most have never even purchased or drank alcohol ever.
But they probably drink chocolate milk with potato flakes in it.
How would you feel about a party at the finish line with no booze? But hypothetically speaking, this race happens to be in Idaho, and they are frying up all-you-can-eat, fresh-cut, hand-picked Idaho potatoes that are even better than Five Guys fries. Along with fry sauce so good you probably could get hammered on it.
Right.
This is all made up, but let's say you're advising a group of RDs on this matter.
Okay, so I know who these jokesters are.
Yeah.
And here's what's important, I think, that the ultra running community, there's a strong connection to IPA beers and PBRs, which is unfortunate. I think that you need to kind of avert your eyes and let that frosty goodness happen at the finish line. As long as people are being cool about it.
Well, and I think, too, is can they bring their own beer? I think that needs to be said. Are you having this at a place where there's no – because you have it in certain areas or some places don't allow alcoholic beverages at a park, at a finish line.
Well, yeah, sure. Well,
So-
even there, I mean, we've done it before where we've had it at a park,
Yeah.
and there was some IPAs there.
I personally, I think it's – I don't think you have to supply it.
No, definitely don't supply it. As an RD, do not supply it because then you are liable.
Yeah, so
Don't do that. I mean, that's on the runners. As long as they're being cool about it, they're not being obnoxious.
but I would put that as a rule one way or another. You can or can't so people know. So there's just not a problem, right?
Right.
So if it's allowed, or if it's not allowed, you should probably just say it.
Yeah, if it's on private property and that landowner says no alcohol period, then as an RD you need to post that, and as a runner you need to respect it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And second of all, I think you nailed something when you're doing something like fresh cut, hand-picked fries,
Yeah.
Potatoes with fries. That could be your kind of one of your niches to your race.
Oh, for sure.
That you're known
Absolutely.
for. We talked about this last
Yeah.
week with
I mean, they've already
runner
proposed
experience.
it.
Yeah.
I might come up just for that.
Yeah. So, and there's a part 2 to this.
Okay.
Oh, and hypothetically,
Mhm.
Eric was going to do the marathon at this race,
Mm-hmm.
but what could help him decide to put the man in Manning and step up to the 50?
He's not allowed to.
All of this is hypothetical, sincerely sober in Idaho.
He is not allowed to do the 50.
Yeah.
I am sorry, but no.
I can't. There's
No.
just too many races out time frame,
Yeah.
and I am fully loaded right now with other ones, right? So I don't think I could pump out a 50.
All right, I just got my rabbit order.
Jill ordered. Well, they had $10 tanks,
I
man.
know.
God, and I ordered one like a week ago for $20. Thought I was getting a steal, and I'm like, oh, now they're 10. Thanks, fellas.
I just got the notification.
Yeah,
It's going to be here.
nice. So that was that one. So yeah, I think back to it, just touching on it. If you allow it, that's great. You don't have to supply it.
No,
but
don't supply it.
Far as if you're going to do fries though, you better do a lot of fries
That is a lot of fries.
because there's going to be people eating them nonstop.
Yeah, a lot of family members too are going to be smelling that and making their way over there.
And so here's the next one. G'day to you fine wizards of single track magic.
Good day. I like that.
I should say it like this. G'day to you fine wizards of single track magic. I have a question of you and seek your wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Following a race or training run of some significant distance,
Okay.
what do you go to for your recovery nutrition? In the immediate minutes / hours / days after the event.
Oh.
There's lots of pre and during race information out there, but it
Right.
seems post-race when the body needs it most.
Yes.
Cheese curds? ? Thanks, fellas. Keep up the awesome work. Cheers, Simon.
Oh man.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
And for the simple fact is so much of it is based on the individual. Like if it's me,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my rundown. Long race, 50, anyway, long race. Recovery, first thing I do when I cross the finish line, I hit me some Scratch Labs or
Yeah.
some Ultragen,
right.
right? Those are 2 that I will always have with
Yeah.
me. And it depends on if there's a sale, depends on what I've got
Yeah,
left over.
exactly, right.
You know, but those 2, Scratch, chocolate,
Yeah.
money.
Uh-huh.
Ultragen, love it. So I have that right away.
Yeah.
As far as hours, it always depends on how I feel. Sometimes
Yep.
I'm famished and can eat, and
Yeah.
sometimes I can't touch a thing.
Nope.
And sometimes I'd prefer to have a beer
Yep.
because it just tastes good and I've earned it.
Mm-hmm.
And then hours and hours more when I start to settle down, I like to tie into some just
whatever.
nasty, greasy.
Oh my gosh,
just
yeah.
kill myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. It's stuff maybe I'd never eat.
Uh-huh.
You know, quarter pound with cheese, something like that, just to replenish. And then as far as days after, I don't really go days after too far. Sometimes if it's a 100-miler, I'll go 4 or 5 days.
You get that 100-mile of
hangover,
just crushing everything in your sight.
Yeah, but I think it's a lot what you eat. I mean, if you're vegan, you got your thing. If you're a meat eater, you got your thing. If you're paleo, you got your thing.
Right.
For me, everything goes out the window, and I reward myself, and I say, you know what do you want?
After a long race.
Yeah, after a long race. Like, hey, you just ran a 50K, 50-miler.
Right.
What do you want, Eric? I'm like, I'm gonna go to Slackwater. I'm gonna kill a pizza.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have a beautiful disaster, and I'm gonna have whatever beer I want.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna feel bad,
yes,
and I'm not going to sleep.
No, definitely not.
But I reward myself, and your body.
I like it.
Still can recover that way. That's what I would do. That's my thing. Everybody's different though.
Yeah.
But I think immediately after, it's always good to have some. Sometimes I'm so hurt, I have Coke, just because I need that sugar back in to keep me non-dizzy and stuff. So,
well, scientifically speaking, that 30 minutes to an hour and a half post hard workout or post race is when you're most optimal to replenish your glycogen stores, and that's why it's important to have that recovery drink there. It doesn't have to be the recovery drink. You can do it with
some people do chocolate milk. Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can eat. Obviously, it takes longer to break those nutrients down to get them into the system. That's why you want to have something that's easy to digest. But you hit it right on the head, man. You could, like when we did Smut a couple of years ago, that was a hard course. It was way hot, and we got to the finish line. We're like, okay, we're going to eat. And we got the food in front of us, and it was like, I'm going to throw up right now.
That was a bad day.
It was. I've had, when I finished the bear, I crushed that trout right away.
Yeah.
They put it in front of me. I was like, oh, yeah.
Keep it coming.
Go time.
Yeah, keep it coming. It's like a cartoon where you just kind of pick the picnic table up and it slides into your mouth.
When we did Vaquero this last year, it was a hard race, long day. I didn't feel like eating right away. Like within 30 minutes, I was like, okay, it's hamburger time.
Yeah.
And then it was hamburger time again.
Yep. Yeah, and as far as cheese curds go, I'm always game for that.
I think so. As long as it's not too hot out.
Yeah.
You can, especially if they're fried.
If it's hot and they're fried, I'll eat the fried. You know what? I'll rolls out the window.
So
I'll eat them
maybe we need
anytime
to
I got
backtrack
them.
a little bit to the question posed by the hypothetical putts board.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the fried potatoes, but I even like the idea more of some cheese curds with the potatoes.
Yep.
We're talking poutine.
Drizzle some cheese and gravy. Why don't you just do poutine up there, guys?
That's what you guys can be known
poutine
for.
Ultra Trail Series.
Yeah. I like it. Well, what we can do? We can have our own race, hold it the weekend before, and call it the putts.
Yeah. The poutine
Ultra Trail. That's a little jab at somebody here locally.
Next question. Ask TrailManners. I ran Arches Ultra 50K this last weekend, and looking back, I realized that I spent way too much time in the aid station where my drop bags were available to me.
Right.
Other stations, I was all business. Any tips for maximizing aid station efficiency while minimizing time spent there?
Okay.
My bags were organized, and I had a plan.
Yeah.
Still too long. So that's part one. There's another question, but what do you think there? I think it's tough when you have a drop bag to take too long. You have to be, to me, you have to go in and you have to be mindful of what you're doing.
Yes.
And sometimes that can be hard. It depends on where you're at in a race. But even with the drop bag, you just got to know, and it depends on how you lay if you're organized, it probably makes it easier, but you get, okay, when I'm in, I got to do this and I got to get out.
Right.
That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
Far as taking longer, maybe it's you have more decisions, maybe you feel like it's there.
Yeah. I'm not sure. That's a tough one, right? Because there's something that happens when that drop bag's in front of you.
Yeah.
Your brain gets all foggy, and it takes you a couple minutes longer than it should.
And maybe you're overthinking.
I don't know.
Because you come into an aid station without your drop bag, you know right away because it's like, okay, my stuff's not there. I know I need water.
Right.
And I'll see what they have, and I'll just grab it and go.
Maybe, I don't know what his routine is for the aid station without it, right?
Yeah.
Like you said. So that routine should be, as soon as I get in, I need to hand off my bottles, or I need to fill my bottles. I need to get rid of the trash that I've accumulated on the trail. I need to resupply my nutrition. I need to graze on the table maybe, and then I need to start going.
Yeah.
That's like 2 minutes right there.
Well, see, and I look at it, I know if I don't have a drop bag, before the race, I know what I'm doing, right? So if it's mile 7, my drop bag's at 30. If I hit mile 7, automatically I know, okay, all I know is I need is more water. I probably have everything else with me. Maybe I look at the table real quick and see if there's anything that like looks good at the time.
Exactly.
And then I'm gone.
And
then when I come into an aid station sometimes and I have my drop bag, and mentally I'm thinking, okay, I've got socks in there, I've got to change a shirt. And sometimes I'm just not thinking, and I surprise myself. I pop it open and there's I forgot about that there.
Right.
Do I need that? I don't know.
But you still have the same game plan going into the aid station. Like, okay, I need to do water, I need to throw away trash, and then in my drop bag, I need to get all my nutrition stuff to resupply, and then it's out the door again.
But sometimes you see, and I've done this, where you put in your drop bag more than you need because you don't know what you're going to feel like, right?
Yeah.
And so when you pull in sometimes, maybe you're like, hey, do I feel like that? Do I feel it? So you're maybe asking yourself more questions.
Well,
where if I had
two
gels, 2 gels, that's all I have, no options, but I know I need them. I just grab 2 gels. But if I got 6 gels,
so that brings
all these
up
different
a good point.
flavors.
I think years ago, I was really guilty of overpacking my drop bags. Like I'd get to the end of the race, and I'd have enough stuff to do the race again easily.
Oh, yeah, easy.
And so I think the last few years I've tried my best to, I'm not going to say underpack, but being really close to that threshold of underpacking. So that way I don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah, because that's what I'm the same way. I've overpacked way too many times.
And I've gotten to the point now where I'm using less and less drop bags.
Yeah. Yep. And
for a 50K, I would use 1 drop bag. And
I think
maybe depending on the course.
Sometimes it depends on what's at the aid stations. If you know what's going to be there, you may not need anything.
It depends on the weather too. Yeah. Like sometimes you'll want, okay, I'm going to wear gloves to start, but then it's going to get hot, so I want a drop bag. I can leave my gloves and my long sleeve.
Yeah. So good question. His second part to the question. Where is it here? Oh, here it is. Second question. I have done a pretty good job of wargaming potential problems I could face while on the course. But this weekend I had a physical issue, irritated IT band that led to knee pain that I had not thought of previously.
Right.
Thoughts on mid-race problem solving and dealing with the mental letdown when a race goes south. For myself, I was able to work through my issues with the knowledge that everything that I had control over, I took care of.
Right.
And then the second part, and we'll answer that. And it just said to finish it off, I just want to let you guys know I got several positive comments on my TrailManners beanie. Keep up the good work, gents. Chris Pack.
We heard about that.
Yeah.
We heard about the beanie.
Yep. So thanks for, first of all, thank you for the Ask TrailManners. Thanks for wearing the beanie.
I know.
And there's still more left. Hint, hint.
Right.
But yeah, so let's answer that. Like IT band flare up.
So the first part of his question, let me address that. I think as runners, we kind of know all the big hitters that are going to affect us. IT issues, right?
Yep.
Maybe some plantar fasciitis, Achilles pain, calf pain. What else? Glute, hip stuff. And then maybe a little bit of back problem for the longer run stuff. So we know those are always potentials to have. Also runner knee as well. So maybe we should all be educated on how to quickly address those issues to reduce the impact of the flare-up while on a training run or on a race. So that way we're just adding to our tool set. So what I mean is if you have a IT band flare-up on a long training run or on a race course, how are you going to deal with that real quickly? So you're going to have that strategy in place, ready to go, so that way you're taking care of all the variables or trying to reduce all the variables that you can. So that way he's, like I said, I did a good job of war planning. So this is just part of your war planning, right?
Yeah.
You're just expanding your tool set to take care of yourself while you're on the run. That's how I think that we should maybe look at it.
Well, I think, too, it kind of goes personalized because I think we've all headed into a race where we had something we've been dealing with.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? So it's like, I know my lower back on a climb might tighten up. I know it goes better downhill, but what's my game plan when it starts to tighten up? I think a lot of it is just, majority, and there's always everything else because it's trail running, but majority you have your own little niggles here and there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what your niggles are. Joel had a hamstring last year.
Oh, yeah.
I have lower back and calf cramping problems. So I know these things coming into every time I run. So it's like, hey, I know how to take care of those. Now when you get that wild card that something just happens, that's when it might throw you off more. Like you can't war plan for everything, you can try.
Yeah.
But I think that is kind of a big thing is going into it, what's your ailments or what's your issues,
right?
And then how would you address them on the trail, whether maybe putting what do you call those again? A lacrosse ball and drop bag at mile 50. You know, it's like, I might have some IT, I might have some
just
hip flexor
your go-to stretches.
Yeah,
right.
And I have those in my lower back.
Or you get to that aid station and maybe there's a volunteer that's available. You say, hey, can you come over here and help me stretch real quick?
Can you put the sunscreen on
not
me?
Busy. Yeah.
Can you lather me up?
Is there a lubologist that is available to help me?
I got some squirrel's nut butter, but my hands have gloves on them.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to handle the first part of the question. Now, the second part of the question, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's a struggle right there.
And I think a lot of it just goes down to individuality.
Yeah.
With what you have and knowing how to deal with it, or even it's always good too if you've got, like we always talk about, Nate Graven's our guy, or your gal, or whoever you go to. Maybe they could give you, because Nate did for me. He's like, hey, when you're out there, if you raise your arms this way and do that.
I think he's talking more about the psychological. How do you deal with that psychologically while you're out there and something goes haywire that you're not expecting?
I think that's
resilience from training.
It's resilience, and it's going to happen every time.
I mean, is that the grit that you accumulate over years of running and just
part of ultra running? It really is part of ultra running. You know that you talk to even the seasoned people, and it's like you always expect the unexpected. How you going to come through that? Maybe this goes back
to some mantras. Having some mantras that are available to you when things go sideways that you're going to fall back on.
Yeah, I think that's a good one for sure. Because let's face it, it's stomach issues, cramping. Yeah. Rolling an ankle, taking a wrong turn. There's so many things that can happen, and you just need to. The mantra thing's a good thing, but ultimately,
we need to fess up. That didn't work for us at Vaquero. We didn't have the best day at Vaquero, and we were ready to hang it up.
Well, and I think some of that too was just going into Vaquero. We knew we weren't ready for Vaquero.
Oh God,
what we wanted to do.
Not even close.
And even as much as we talk about, hey, I'm not ready for this race, but we're just still competitive with ourselves.
Oh, sure.
Because we've done Vaquero. We know what we've done, and we know what we want to ultimately do.
Oh, sure.
And if you don't do that, you're kind of like, the hell with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think
done.
that's some of it, too, is that psychological, how you're going into a race, too.
Right.
Like, is it an A race? Is it just something you want to do? Is it you ready for it? And you got to address that the best you can. And I'm the worst source for that because I'm hard on myself on everything. But I think that's something that is what really separates those really bad days from finishing.
Yeah.
It's just that, we talked to Sylvia Greer taking an extra X amount of miles at a 240-mile race.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I mean, that's just
extra 10 miles.
Extra what you want to come out of this with.
Right.
So, all right, we got two more.
Wow.
Hi, guys. I'm a faithful podcast listener. I have a question for Ask TrailManners. I'm running the Buffalo 100 in March, my first 100-mile race.
Oh.
What do you put in your drop bags? The non-obvious stuff. I'm thinking a change of contacts, maybe deodorant.
Yes. Absolutely.
Toothbrush, and any course tips from Anonymous.
That's going to be, mile 50-ish?
Yeah, it's basically one loop around it's two loops of the 50.
I'm thinking that's where that person's going to put their contacts. Is it mile 50-ish?
Because you're in a tent, it's heated.
Yes.
There's space to work with.
There is. You can
You're right at the car, basically.
Yeah, you can use the mirror at the car if you need to.
Yeah.
My 100-miler, I always have an extra pair of contacts now.
I do too.
Yeah.
Always.
I put them later in the race, like mile 75-ish, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I always have extra. I always take I have this really small eye drop thing I put in my pack.
Do you?
Because if they get dry or I get irritated, something gets in them.
That's a good idea.
It's rarely happened, but if I lose a contact, I can't see jack, right?
One eye in it.
So yeah, absolutely on a contacts.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's some quote unquote and I don't know when you say non-obvious, like there's obvious to me, but may not be obvious to others. So I'm just going to run down. I mean, you got to have some type of anti-chafe.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever your poison is.
Yep.
Right. So I always have, and longer races, I carry that small stick of squirrel's nut butter.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because it fits everywhere and I can use it anytime. Right. So I take one of those. Me said maybe deodorant. I don't deal with deodorant.
No, But you know what? If that's refreshing,
that
lifts your spirits, go for it.
Well, I think that's
same with brushing your teeth.
That's why I said toothbrush. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I mean, at Wasatch they have them at mile
75, or they used to.
Yeah.
or
Brighton,
whatever that is now.
Yeah.
60-ish.
So toothbrush is great because that can just refresh you a little bit. I know some people have taken those little strips that dissolve on your tongue.
Yeah.
For that refreshing feeling, they've got those little disposable disposable toothbrushes you
Yep.
could put in your pack and throw away at an aid station.
Mhm.
So yeah, anything that works for you, far as what you think will make you. I know it's your first 100, but anything
Yeah.
that's going to make you liven up or feel comfortable. Change a shirt. A lot of times does that.
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely change.
You know, if you're a female, I know some of them will change your sports bra.
Yep.
Just that layer next to skin to have that fresh and dry socks.
Right.
You know, what you wear, whether it's tights or shorts with
I
stuff
think
in them.
for the Buffalo run, maybe some poles.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that course is so runnable.
Yeah.
You get later in the game, and maybe you can't run anymore, but maybe you can power hike.
Yeah.
And you can power hike faster with poles.
Okay.
I'm going to suggest that.
Okay.
But make sure you train with them beforehand.
Yeah. And being your first 100 mile, I mean, a lot of it's that mental side too. If you got to do that thing twice.
Well, it's two
Right.
different courses, right? You got your daytime course and you
Yeah.
got your nighttime course.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same mileage,
Well,
right?
you know what I'd recommend too is just a bad A headlamp.
Okay, so that gives us back to the Lumen 600, the waist belt.
Yeah.
Go with that.
Yeah.
Spend that money.
Yeah.
It's one of the best investments we've made.
But yeah, I mean, non-obvious stuff. I don't know.
It gets
trying to
cold
think.
on the island at night.
Yeah, always have your change of clothes with
Be
you.
ready
I think
for that.
fresh clothes is good. I'm trying to think of non-obvious stuff though, because
They do a good job of food out there.
Yeah, I mean that, and there's always, especially that 50 mile or the turn or the second loop. There's just people there, and there's always extra stuff.
Right.
So it's a lot what you're comfortable with, but I mean that second change of clothes next to your skin, because like Joel said, you're in the daytime for the first 50, nighttime a lot for the second 50.
Yeah.
I don't know if that any non-obvious stuff. That's probably what I would go with. Like I said earlier though, as far as contacts, I always carry a small little re-wetter.
Yeah.
You know, because
It's probably not going to, I don't think it'll freeze if it's in your drop bag.
It doesn't. I've used that before too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do that. I do some squirrel's nut butter with me all the time. I take squeaky cheeks with put in my drop bags.
Yeah.
I like to stay fresh too, but I don't like to spend too much time on it. You know, it's like how I pull in. I don't change my socks hardly at all, or shoes. That's just me. I know a lot of people
do
it.
that though. If this is your first 100, give it a try. See if that works for you.
So yeah, I hope that helps. This individual is going to be at Red Mountain, so make sure you come say hi to us.
That'd be fun
because we're horrible at picking people out.
Yeah.
Last Ask TrailManners for the week.
All right.
Hola, amigos.
Uh-oh.
I know you will have some advice, I know you'll have some amazing advice on this one. I have a 24-hour ultra coming up February 17th at the Jackpot Ultra Running Festival.
Okay.
My question is, if you have any tricks that help you get through the night. I figure I will be good up until 12 or 1 in the morning, but need to make it through till about 8 a.m. Right. Sunrise probably won't come till 7, so I'm not super worried about the last hour. But what are some things I can do to keep going, stay awake through the night? I don't use caffeine a lot during training, but do have some gels with a little bit that I plan on using. Thanks, Dave Stevenson.
Boy, that's a tough one. That 12 to 1 o'clock time is so sleepy.
See, for me, it's about 2 to 4. That kills me. I can get through, but man, something about 2 o'clock, 3 a.m. is like the dead zone for me.
Is it?
When that sun comes up, it's game on.
It is. It's crazy.
It's just that sleep through the night. I've experimented, and usually when I'm that late, I usually have pacers because it's a 100-miler for me, right? Because I don't really take that long in a 50, hopefully. But it's a 100-miler, so I have someone I'm talking to. If you don't have that option,
so
music,
this race sounds like maybe they'll have.
I think there'll be people around you.
Right, because isn't it a loop?
I think so.
It's a loop.
I think it's a 24-hour, so it's got to be on some level.
So I think that you're probably going to have some people around you.
Yeah.
Maybe find somebody that doesn't mind chatting with you.
Yeah.
That always
check
helps.
first, because some people don't like to chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes even whatever music you like listening to, pick it up a beat or two.
Definitely, that's key.
Like
you get a little sleepy, you freaking crank "Kill 'Em All" by Metallica.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
that gets you going.
And for me, I do playlists, and one of my playlists is Help.
Yeah.
It's called just titled Help. And that basically is stuff to pick me up. Like it's like faster paced or inspirational, but it's not like lullabies. It's not that type. It's more, Eminem 8 Mile type stuff, or, stuff like that to pick me up. And I've listened to it during training, so that's helped me. Like, I know
Dave,
that's my thing.
Here you go, man. "Kill 'Em All" by Metallica. Some, oh my gosh, I just blanked out on that band.
It's
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. If you can find some good sound on it.
Iron Maiden's greatest hits, obviously. Those two right there. That's 2 hours.
There you go. And
That'll get you through.
That might give you enough to get through for a long. You might be so disgusted or like, I can't believe I'm listening to this, or your head just is woken up.
That's going to wake you right up. You're going to pick up your pace. Okay. Make sure you have big old bright lights.
Yeah, that helps.
Okay. Make sure you have that bright light. It makes it easier to see.
So it doesn't seem as dark.
Yeah, that always helps. And then as far as the caffeine thing goes, I mean, Eric and I, we're caffeine connoisseurs in the morning. So we always have some coffee at night. That helps.
And as we've talked about before, make sure that you've used it before.
Yes.
Right? And I know you have some in your gels. That's a little bit different than having it in a
like
liquid form. Yeah, like a liquid form.
Having a little bit of Coke at like midnight.
Coca-Cola.
Like 6 ounces of Coke. Not cocaine. That'll wake you right up, though.
Yeah, that'll work, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Might PR.
Yeah, exactly.
And then go to the ER.
Yeah, PR, the ER.
But yeah, I think that's for me is music helps a lot just because it can get in your head.
Big light, and then chatting with somebody is always good, too.
Yeah, but I don't know if, and again, I'm hoping people that are listening to this show will go back and comment on this if you have tricks and tips for any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because me and Joel don't know it all.
No.
And we would love to get some answers as well.
Yeah.
But good luck down there, Dave.
I know. He's going to do awesome.
7th. Yeah,
that
he's
dude's
been
lost
trained.
like 50 pounds.
I can't wait to see him again.
He looks different.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it.
That was a lot of questions.
That was, but we appreciate it, and I know we've got emails from listeners that appreciate people asking questions, so don't hesitate to reach out. That's at trailmanners.com. You can send us a message on Facebook, which we've got them that way, so it's ever easiest for you.
Right.
But, another big week, another long show. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back next week for you. I think that's pretty much it. Don't forget to taper up. We got races coming up, everyone.
Oh, so let's touch on that
All
real
right,
quick.
I'm ready.
That was a good discussion we had on what sort of logo.
For Monday, I was like, because I've been thinking about it a lot.
We
We're
would
out of
have
shirts, and
for
people keep
Taper Up.
emailing me like, "Hey, do you guys have any new shirts coming
So
out?
I have
Do you
an
any
idea.
new shirts coming out."
So I had an idea for taper up, and then somebody said, "Hey, why don't you just have the word taper up and flip it upside down because it's such a back-assward type of way of thinking." And I'm like, "That is perfect." So I kind of have it in my head what it's going to look like.
Nice.
So I think we'll maybe kind of get serious about this.
We've got a great screen printer.
We
and
do.
We're running low on shirts, but we need to sell some stuff because we're running low on fundage.
Well, we have these new Boco hats.
We
that
haven't
have
even
yet
shown
to get into the store, and we're trying to do a better job with marketing them, and maybe we'll get on that this weekend.
because they're good looking.
They are good looking,
and they're comfortable.
I think they're comfortable.
I do too, and they're not. So we've had the question too. This is a smaller fit.
It is a smaller
So
fit
like
hat.
ladies have said, "Hey, do you have anything small? This will be perfect."
It will.
And I've got a huge head.
You got a big
and
melon.
it still fits me, and it's
It does.
comfortable for me.
I'm surprised it fits you.
I am too. Like the back, the Velcro thing, you can't read. It just says like it.
It's there.
Right?
It's not going any farther. It's like one strand of Velcro.
But I have a Mungo melon, 7 3/4, 7 1/8.
Yeah.
Is my size. No, 7 1/8 and 7 3/8, 7 1/4.
That's so weird. You know those dimensions of your melon.
Well, because baseball hats are sold in sizes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So taper up. We're working on that. We will have some more stuff hitting for 2018. We're just we didn't sell all the beanies. That set us back. We got some hats we just got, so we'll get those out there.
Yeah.
But we'll get some more shirts in the shop, and
I
we're
like
just
the
looking at the
taper
taper
up
up. Well, people like I'd wear it, and I'm like, dude, I'd totally wear that.
Well, I love people submitting their own artwork.
Yeah.
That really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, that
to
was
see
super
that.
cool. So we appreciate that. Have a great week. Have a great weekend running.
That's right.
The
weather's great.
Oh man, it is here.
Remember, taper up, folks.
Yeah, and,
it's that time.
Send us your questions. So we'll catch you next week here for the Trail Manners podcast. Eric and Joel, we are out.